Good morning to all of you and welcome to the Abroad at AU online orientation for spring 2015. We are very excited to have you all join us in Washington for the semester or the calendar year. And this is just going to be a kind of a brief pre-departure session so we can give you some information and you can get to know a little bit more about the program. So to get started, we'll just do some quick introductions. My name is Desiree Maruka, and I am an incoming student advisor for the Abroad at AU program. I will be working with all of you through the semester, through this semester as well. We are doing all of your immigration documents and acceptances and things like that. So you may have been emailing back and forth with me. Continue to do that. I will be your main point of contact until about February when Sarah Beamer Harlow, who you see here also on the screen, will be returning. She actually is currently on maternity leave. So she just welcomed a second baby boy into her family, and so she will be out but still working with the Abroad at AU program closely and will be returning to us in February. So you will get to know both of us very well during your time here at American. And please feel free to reach out to either of us at any time. We do want to kind of take this moment while we're on the screen to just reiterate that it's really important that you are emailing the abroad at AU at american.edu email with any questions that you have. These questions can be about anything: housing, billing, your courses. Always contact us first, and we say that just because if you reach out to another department on campus, oftentimes they refer you back to us, and so it can just take more time to get your question answered if you reach out directly to a different department on campus and they have to kind of come back to us and ask your question again. So please feel free to email us with any questions and be sure to contact us directly at abroad at AU at american.edu. And that's also just a great habit to get into because there's 3 of us that are constantly checking that email, even in Sarah's absence. So you're just more likely to get a response quicker if you contact us directly. And you can also friend Sarah B. Harlow on Facebook. I know a lot of you have done that already, and that's great. We're going to be going through and accepting all of those and adding you into our Abroad at AU Facebook group, which we use to kind of contact you and give you more information through the semester. Next, we also have Ethan Merritt, who is a student advisor, and he actually advises solely for our Abroad at AU students from Waseda University out of Japan. So if you're coming from that school, then Ethan will be your advisor. But again, you can feel free to reach out to me or to the Abroad at AU email with any questions that you might have. And last up, we have Ashley, who's actually sitting next to me. So go ahead, Ashley.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashley Holst, and I am the program assistant here at Abroad at AU. So I will be working with all of you throughout the semester for our Abroad at AU events. And also I can help answer any of your questions that you have. I'm also a student here at American in the graduate school, so you'll see me around campus throughout the semester as well.
Okay, so real quickly, we're just going to show you ourselves on camera so that you can see we're here and we're not just a creepy recording. So good morning.
Good morning.
We are glad that you all can join us today, but we will go back to the PowerPoint presentation so that you can see it more clearly. Okay.
So on today's agenda, we're going to cover a lot of really important topics. So we are going to try and do our best to explain these topics through all of you first. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box as we go. And if we feel like it's an appropriate time, we'll answer it while we're covering that topic. Otherwise, at the end, we will go through all of your questions and give you some time to ask any more questions that you have. So on today's agenda, the first thing that we're going to talk about is deposits. And then we're also going to talk about J-1 visa and travel plans. Next, we'll talk about housing, and we'll also talk about health insurance and immunizations, which are required before you come to campus. Registration of classes, and lastly, orientation. That will be the first thing you do in January. So all of these things are things that you guys have been asking us about, so it'll be really important that you pay close attention to these core topics.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about your deposit. It is due by Saturday, November 1st, 2014. About 90% of you have paid that deposit, which is great. So you should see that checked off in your application portal, and that is wonderful. If you have not paid this deposit yet, please keep in mind that it must be paid before you can apply for on-campus housing. So if you were offered a spot on campus and you have completed the application, please note that your application will not be considered for acceptance unless you have made that deposit payment on your account. So if you have any questions or if you've been having any issues with getting your deposit paid, please email us. But for the majority of you, as I said, it's already done. So if you haven't done it, please log on to your application portal and take care of that. We do want to remind you that the $500 goes towards your bill and your Abroad at AU student fee. So please do not consider this to be an additional $500 to what you were told you would be charged. This will go directly onto your bill, and in January, when you get a copy of what you owe, you'll see that that $500 has already been deducted. So whether it's if you have to pay tuition or you live on campus or you buy a meal plan, any of those things will have the $500 go towards your bill. If your bill is less than $500, if you are an exchange student who does not live on campus, who waives their health insurance, and you only owe $185 in mandatory student fees, then you can request a refund for that money. So please do not consider that to be money that's lost. Again, it's going to be going right on to your bill. So if you have any questions about that, please let us know. And if you haven't made your deposit, please do that as soon as possible, because that is when we can start processing your immigration and making sure that your housing application is complete. Okay, so now to the exciting information. We have been diligently, Ashley has done an amazing job working on all of your immigration documents. So we have everything processed and it's been sent to our international office on campus. And they will actually be going through and creating all of your DS 2019 forms, which you will use to apply for your visa, and we will talk about that on the next slide. So when your support documents are prepared and everything from American University is ready for you in your home country, then we will send the support documents directly to the international office at your home university. So whoever you applied to Abroad at AU through, whichever office on campus that was, you should be in contact with them as soon as your support documents have been mailed out, because they will be receiving them and giving them to you. Please follow the directions in your acceptance packet to apply for your visa. So within your packet, you'll get the official acceptance letter, as well as your DS 2019, which is going to be the form that you will then use to apply for your visa. And we will give you a specific direction packet that includes all of that information for how that process will go and what it will look like and the different steps that you need to take. It's also important that in addition to that packet, you go online to your local embassy or consulate for the United States that you're going to apply through and make sure that you have all the documents that they require. So if they want to see original bank documents again, or they want to see a transcript, things like that, you are responsible for collecting all of that additional information, and it's going to be slightly different for every single country that you all are in. So it's really important that you go in and you see what their list of requirements is for your student interview for your visa. Also, make sure that you pay your SEVIS fee before you are requesting your visa interview, and that information and directions will also be in your acceptance packet. But SEVIS is a database that is housed by the United States Department of Homeland Security, and it's basically just a registration of all the students who are coming to the United States, and you must be on that list before you can go in for your interview. So you need to make sure you're paying that fee. And again, that information will be in your acceptance packet, which you can get directly from your international office once we send them out. The first day you'll be able to enter the United States on your J-1 visa is December 13th, 2014, So this December, on the 13th, you will be able to enter the United States on that visa, because you get a 30-day grace period from when it begins. You should keep in mind that it will expire on May 10th, of 2015, but you have about a 30-day grace period, which is why you can enter early and kind of leave late. So if you have any questions, if you're planning to come to the United States before December 13th, you need to let us know immediately, because you will have to enter on a separate visa and then leave and come back on your student visa. So just keep that date in mind. I know a large majority of you are planning on arriving after that date, so you won't have any problems. But if this may conflict with your travel plans, please let us know. Okay, and the DS 2019 is the form that I've sort of been alluding to. This is what it's going to look like. So this is just a sample, but it will have your information, your name, your program, all of your dates and things like that on the exact form, as well as your CEFAS ID number, which you will use to apply. So you need to bring your original DS 2019 with you when you come to the United States, either in December or January. You cannot make a copy of this. You cannot scan it onto your phone. You need to have the original sheet with you, or you will have an issue getting through immigration. So in addition to your passport and your J1 visa, which will be in your passport, please, please, please make sure that you have this original DS 2019 with you, because you will not only need it to enter the U.S., but you will need it for the entire duration of your time at American University. So please take this very seriously. Do not lose this form once you have received it.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on a little bit with what Desiree was talking about in terms of your travel plans. I know it probably still seems like a long way away, but I think we'll all be surprised the spring semester will be here before we know it. So the first thing to consider in your travel plans is that if you are planning to live on campus, so if you have submitted an application to live on campus, you need to know this date, January 4th at 3 p.m. That is the first time that you can move into your on-campus dorm. No one will be allowed to enter the dorms prior to that time. So you need to keep that into consideration when you are looking at your flights coming into DC. We really suggest that you consider coming to DC either on the 4th or the 5th, which will allow you to essentially move right into the dorms, and then we'll be getting started with orientation and planned activities right after that. During that first week, we will schedule some shopping trips and dinner meetups for the entire group. This will be helpful to you guys in finding the local grocery stores and shopping centers. And also the dinners will be very important because a second important date to remember is January 11th. This is the first day that that your meal plan will be able to be used. So prior to January 11th, there will not be food available on campus. But don't worry, we will help make sure that you know where to find food. But you should also take that into consideration when you're budgeting for that first week of campus, that you will be eating off campus and it will not be on your meal plan. If you are planning to live off campus, we actually suggest that you come at least a week, if not even 2 weeks early. And we think that this is a good amount of time just because it does take some time once you're here in the city to get settled into your new apartment. You will probably need housewares, maybe even a couple pieces of furniture. So again, that's something to consider. And like Desiree said, you guys can enter the country after December 13th. So you do have time prior to orientation to come to DC. The last thing that we really want you guys to keep in mind, because we know many of you are going to purchase round-trip flights, is that the last day of finals will be May 5th of 2015. So you should not schedule a flight prior to this date because there is a high possibility that you might have a final on May 5th. Here in the United States, our final schedule may be different than what some of you are used to. Every class will have one final. There'll only be one time, and you won't have an option to take the final at a different time. You will have to sit the final during the time scheduled by the university. So if you have a final on May 5th, you must take that final on May 5th. And then for those of you who are living on campus, you will have to move out of the dorms by May 6th. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave the country on May 6th, but if you choose to stay longer than the 6th, you will have to find some other place to stay, whether it be with a friend or in a hotel, but you will have to leave the dorms, and all of your things will have to leave the dorms by May 6th. And just to reiterate, you do have that 30-day grace period, both at the beginning and the end, so you can use those 30 days on either side of your visa, but do make sure that when you're purchasing your tickets, they are within your visa limits so that you don't run into any difficulties either trying to enter or exit the country.
Okay, does anyone have questions about visas or travel plans or immigration at this point? You can go ahead and put them in the chat box and we can answer those for you. Okay, so hello, you are our one calendar year student for 2015, and your visa will be through the end of fall semester in December. So I believe it is December 15th. So you will have through January of 2016 for you, our one calendar year student. Okay, if you think of anything else,
16th.
go ahead and write it down and we will take it at the questions. Okay, Ashley's going to talk a little bit more about housing, on-campus housing.
Great. So we started to talk a little bit about campus housing, but there are some other things that we would like to point out to you. This deadline is also Saturday, November 1st, so that is coming up very quickly. If you would like to be considered for housing and you have not done this yet, first of all, make sure you've paid your deposit, and then also make sure that you have applied for housing. Again, this deadline is November 1st, and it's very important if you'd like to be considered for housing. In order to apply for housing, you need to log onto your student portal account, which is MyAU. And you received information about this as well as your login information in your acceptance email. So if you are not sure what MyAU is, check back in that initial email, and that will have directions and your login. If you are having any difficulties with the application, please contact us as soon as possible. We want to make sure that all of you get your deadline and your applications in. And we also want to make sure that as many of our students who would like to get campus housing are able to do so. So if you're having any difficulties, please contact us right away. And again, our email's there at the bottom, abroad@au@american.edu.
Okay, so just quickly to talk about off-campus housing. If you are one of the students who was not guaranteed a spot on campus, or you are just not really interested in university housing and you would like to live off campus, you have a few options. There are many different apartments and complexes and houses that are around American University that have students currently living in them. So we suggest that you mostly look at the northwest corner. That is where AU is located. So we are in Tenleytown, as well as you may see Friendship Heights, Grover Park, AU Park, things like that. Those are all going to be Spring Valley. Those are kind of neighborhoods that you may see coming up as you're looking at American University. So we will be compiling some different information into a email and sending that to you so that you have it in case you are interested in looking at that. But we have kind of some suggestions for your best options to locate this housing. So one of the first things you can do is just Google American University off-campus housing, and there will be an entire information guide that our Housing and Dining Programs office has put together. This will have apartments that they suggest, kind of postings from other students who are looking for sublet opportunities, as well as just some details on what kind of renting an apartment is like in Washington. So that's your first option. We also suggest talking to students from your university who have been at American in the past. So if you have either know that person or you have contact information through your international office, we've found that it's really successful for students to kind of pass apartments along, or just to talk to someone specifically from their institution about what their experience was with off-campus housing. As sublet opportunities are sent to our office, we will be posting them on the Facebook group that I told you about earlier. So that's just another way to kind of get in touch with a student who specifically wrote to Abroad at AU and said, I would love to have an international student living with us for the spring semester. So we will post those as we receive them, so definitely make sure that you're checking up on that. And then finally, and I know this seems kind of informal, but the most successful way that our students have found housing in the past is through the AU Facebook group, just called Housing. So this is a private Facebook group that has been created by and for students, and there are postings constantly of people who both want to find a roommate and who are also looking for a roommate. So when you go to that group, you can in fact just say, hi, my name is Desiree. I'm going to be at AU from Ireland this semester, and I'm really looking to live with, 3 males or in a house or something. You can kind of be specific and say what you want. And people will write back to you and say, we'd love to have you in our apartment. I will be posting this group and sending it out in an email. You need to have your american.edu email linked to your Facebook in order to join this group, and we will be giving you all those emails within the next week. So you can just add that to your Facebook, join this group, and just kind of see what's out there, and if that's something, if living off campus is something that interests you, or if you have to live off campus, then that is a great way to kind of get in touch with other AU students who are looking for roommates.
The next topic that we want to...
Okay, so let me just answer the housing question real quick. I wrote down the visa questions, so we will get back to those. The reason that upperclassmen are suggested to live off campus is because American University is a dry campus. So that means even if you are 21, which is the legal age to drink in the United States, you cannot have alcohol in your dorm. You also cannot smoke or have any tobacco products in your dorm. So we just encourage that students think about that when they're deciding whether to be on or off campus. So if you are 21 and you feel like that is going to kind of be an important part of your living situation, then we do suggest you live off campus. There are people who are in their 3rd, 4th years that definitely live on campus. We have specific housing for upperclassmen. McDowell would be one of those dorms, so you are more than welcome to complete the application and to list those as your preferences. It's not in any way saying that you can't live on campus if you are over 21 or if you're an upperclassman. It just simply is kind of a suggestion that you think about some of the different requirements and the environment that living on campus will have at American, specifically as a dry campus.
Great. So we will move on to the next topic, and this is also a really important topic. It might not seem as exciting as housing or other things, but it is very important, and that is health insurance and immunizations. Let me start by saying we at Abroad at AU strongly recommend that you consider getting the student health insurance plan. Historically, we've had some students who have chosen not to go with the AU plan and waived their insurance with their own family insurance from home. And unfortunately, in the United States, their insurance did not adequately cover their health needs. And for some students, unfortunately, this led to very high medical bills that they were not prepared to pay or even unable to pay. So we know for a lot of you from different countries, our American University health insurance may seem expensive, but if you follow the guidelines that are required by the American healthcare system, our healthcare is actually quite good and will cover you while you're here on campus. And the other good thing about having the American University health insurance plan is that if you have this health insurance, your primary care physician or your general doctor is here on campus. So you can use the health center here, visit the doctor on campus, and you won't have to worry about going anywhere else. So that sort of explains why we recommend you at least considering and hopefully using the AU student health insurance. If you, after listening to all that, still decide that you would like to use your family's health insurance, you have to fill out the waiver before January 1st. So you'll have to fill out information online about your health insurance and submit that, and it will either be approved or denied by the university. And the last thing to talk about are immunizations. American University does require mandatory immunizations. Again, you'll have to fill out that form, and it's due January 1st. And you have to send that directly to the AU Student Health Center. So that is one thing that we do not want you to send to us. That needs to go directly to the health center. And again, that's something that we would really like for you to take a look at now, because if you are missing any immunizations, you need to get those as soon as possible so that they have been completed before you arrive in the United States. And some of them require multiple shots. But the one thing that is helpful to you is that if it does require 2 or 3 visits, as long as you have the first of the immunizations, you can get the second or third here in the United States on campus. Were there any questions about that before we move along?
There is more information as well as links directly to the waiver on your portal and the immunization form through your application portal in your required readings. So if you've already gone through those and kind of just checked them all as read, but you didn't click any of those links, please go back and look at those again. Yes, so for all of the insurance points, you have to kind of meet and check off. They are specifically described in the waiver. So if you log on to your MyAU portal and you look at that waiver, or you go directly to the Student Health Center website, then they will tell you what the payouts need to be, what they need to cover for like emergency care, for primary doctor care. So all of that information is located on the health center website, or you can read it directly on the waiver as you're comparing the health insurance that's required and the health insurance that you have. Okay, so now to our next exciting topic of registration. So this is going to be important, and you might have a lot of questions about this, so please make sure that you are listening closely, and if you have any concerns, please let us know in the chat box. So first thing with registration is, as we've already said before, you must submit your $500 deposit before you can be cleared and register for any of your courses. So the deposit due date is long before registration, clearance, or registration itself will take place, but we just wanted to kind of remind you that this is a step you need to take before you will be cleared for these things. So you need to go, first of all, into your application portal, into your required readings, and read through the information for course selection and registration, and complete the course clearance form that you will find in that link. So basically what will happen is you need to go through, and we'll talk about how to do this in a few slides, the classes that are being offered for the spring, choose the 8 or more that you are interested in signing up for, and then submit all of them through the form so that we as an office can go through and clear you for all of those classes. The Abroad at AU office will look at the courses that you have decided to take, kind of examine what their prerequisites are and how you've met those on your transcript, and we will either clear you for those or maybe suggest a different class if you haven't quite met with what is required for that course. You will be receiving an email letting you know which classes you have been cleared for and can register for, probably the 3rd week in November. So registration for Abroad at AU students will be on November 24th and 25th based on your last name, and I will be giving you all those details in the email with your course clearance. So you will either log on the 24th or the 25th and register for classes, so you should be expecting to receive your course clearances back by that week before in November, so you can see what courses you will actually register for. If you have any questions about whether you can take a class or not take a class, just go ahead and put it on the form, and then that will clear me to go ahead and look at it and see whether you qualify or do not qualify for the class. You can submit that form as many times as you would like. I don't have a problem clearing you for 15 classes. Obviously, you can only take 4 or 5 of them when it actually comes time to register, but if you're still kind of deciding what you want to pursue while you're at American and you're just not sure what the classes will look like, please feel free to submit that as many times as you would like. As I said, I'm happy to go through and kind of clear you for any prerequisites or things like that. If you do not submit a class to us ahead of time and it has prerequisites, then when it's the day of registration, you will not be able to access that class. We need to go through and clear you before you can be able to register. So definitely make sure you're getting that form into us as soon as possible. There are specific instructions, like I said, in your required readings about course selection and registration that are on your application portal. So you should be reading through those, and if you have any additional questions outside of that information, let us know. If you are currently taking a class this fall semester that is a prerequisite for a class you will be taking in the spring, then you need to put that on your list, but you need to also send me a separate email with proof that you are taking that class. So for example, if you were taking General Biology 100 this semester and next semester you want to take Biology 200, then you need to send an email to Abroad at AU showing me that you are taking currently Biology 100. I will clear you for the course pending your passing Bio 100. So if you are taking a class this semester, you need to A, give me proof that you're taking it, and B, you will need to bring an updated transcript to me in January. If I waive you for a class and then find out that you have in fact not passed the prerequisite, we do have the right to withdraw you from that class for spring semester. So if that is something that you're looking into, or if you have any questions about that, please just email me and let me know so that I can be expecting to see a new transcript from you in January for any of those classes. You must register for 12 credits in order to maintain your visa status as a student. The J1 visa is being given to you in expectation that you are here to first and foremost be a student at American University. So you must be considered a full-time student, which is 12 credits at AU. So when it comes time for registration, and if you find that some of your courses that you would like to take are closed or they have a wait list, things like that, which again we'll talk about in a few slides, you need to choose other classes to register for because you have to be at 12 credits when you enter the United States so that you are considered a full-time student in your status. When I say that you need to be at 12 credits, even though you may not be at your top choices, do not feel that the first time you register is going to be your schedule for the entire rest of the year. American University has a 2-week add drop period during the first 2 weeks of class where you can actually move your courses around and apply to be into different courses if you found that one you're taking is not exactly what you thought it would be, or it's too hard, things like that. So you should be expecting to be at least in 12 credits, and then if you need to move your classes around once you get here and you meet with me, then that's fine, we can do that. If you only sign up for 6 credits and come December 1st, I go through and look at everyone's courses, I will be adding you into classes of my choice. So please make sure that you are at least choosing 4 classes you're interested in taking, and then if we need to switch some out, we can do that. You cannot register for any courses that are restricted. So anything that says it's an honors class, anything that says it's for a SIS major only, things like that, you cannot register for those courses. Anything that's listed as a UC class will not be cleared for Abroad at AU students, or really any regular students at American University. Those are for specific groups on campus. So if you find a class that you're really interested in taking and it's you're not sure whether it's restricted or not, please just let us know. But for the most part, you should be able to very clearly see what is allowed for each class. When you are looking at the different course levels, just to give you an idea, 100 and 200 level classes are considered to be introductory. So these will be basic kind of classes that don't have a prerequisite, your very general knowledge of the subject that you're taking. 300 and 400 level classes are advanced coursework. So these are the classes that are going to have prerequisites to them. They're going to be for our 3rd and 4th year students, anyone who is really advanced in that field. So if you are a psychology major and you're coming in after 3 years at your home university, then you're going to probably be in 300 and 400 level classes. 500 and above classes are taken in the final year and are considered to be graduate courses. So they may be closed to abroad at AU students depending on the subject and what prerequisites you have met. So if there's a specific 500 level class that you're interested in taking, please let us know, but you should not be putting all 500 level and above classes on your transcript, because those are for our 4th year students who are completing like their theses in a certain subject. If you've already submitted your course clearance form, then you should see a check mark in your application portal saying that we have received it. As I said, we won't be going through those until the 2nd or 3rd week in November, but you can expect to, at the latest, receive your course clearances back so that they are in advance of when you have to register. So probably like that November 17th, 18th window. If you would like to do an internship, you cannot receive credit for it. So that is what we mean by cannot register for an internship. So you are welcome to do academic training outside of class. And we will talk more about that once you arrive in January and what that process means. But you cannot take an internship class. So as you're looking at registration and you're submitting your course clearances, do not put an internship into your schedule, because you can't receive credit for it as part of your visa status. So you can do a volunteer internship sort of outside, considered academic training, but you will not be able to put it onto your schedule as class. If you send a new course clearance request form, I will automatically consider it to be an addition to your first one. If you decide you want to submit a second one and you do not want the classes on your first one, that's fine too. Just send me an email saying, I've resubmitted my course list and I would like for you to consider this instead of my original one. But if you don't send me that email, then I will just look at both of those lists together and clear you for all of the courses. So don't feel afraid to submit a second one because it will delete the first one. It won't do that at all. You can submit a second course clearance form just like you submitted the first one. Just go back to that link again, and you should be able to refill in the information and then submit it. There isn't a limit on how many times you can complete the form. Okay, so just to give you kind of a quick, is this still me? Rundown of what the restrictions are that I was talking about on the previous slide. As I said, if anything is listed as an honors class, as a university college class, as a mentorship class, those will not be open to you or any American University student. Those are for specific programs, just like Abroad at AU is a specific program. We have a specific honors program and things like that. So those courses will not be open to you. And then school restrictions. If it says only open to students in the School of International Service or only open to students in the Kogod School of Business, then those will not be classes you can take either. If you are a business student or a communication student, you need to specifically look at the course restrictions, and you can find these on the Abroad at AU website as well. So the School of Business has these specific classes listed that you cannot take as Abroad at AU students, and on the School of Communication has a specific list of classes you can take as an Abroad at AU student. So if you're really interested in Kogod or SOC classes, then you should be reaching out to us if you have any questions, but you need to make sure that you are looking at these lists before you go in and do your course clearances, because unfortunately if you submit a course clearance form with 5 of the classes that are restricted for Kogod, I won't have very many things to write back and say you've been cleared for. Okay. So now we'll see how we choose our classes.
Okay, so once you have taken a look at those classes that are possible for you to take, the next step is going to actually getting registered for those classes. We will let you know when your time for registration comes, but you do want to be prepared. So when you're looking at those classes, make sure you're keeping a list of the classes that you're interested in. So how you can first check the schedule, so the times and dates of courses, is by looking at the American University schedule of classes. This is on American University's website under the Office of the Registrar, but we recommend if you go into Google and just type in American University schedule of classes, it will bring you directly to this page. When you are here, there are a couple things that you need to know about this page. First of all, make sure that you select Spring 2015, where that first arrow is. If not, you might see fall classes or summer classes, which will obviously not be helpful to you. The next thing that you have to fill in is browse a subject. In this category, you can pick, for instance, International Business, which is labeled IBUS. So when you look at the courses for the course clearance, keep in mind what those subjects are so that when you're searching, you can find them directly. The rest of this page, you want to leave blank. You do not want to fill in the search box. You want to leave it as title. And do not change course type, section status, or start time. Leave all of that blank and select Search Courses down at the bottom. This is the next page that you will see. This is what is going to come up when you click Search. The thing that you need to check first is whether that course is available. There are several options that you might see, which are open, closed, waitlisted, or canceled. So I'm going to go through and let you know what all of those things mean. Starting with number 1, open. That's pretty self-explanatory. It means that there is space in that class. You may register for it. So if you see that and that's a class you want to take, go ahead and write that course down. And you'll want to write down the subject and the number of the course, as well as the date and time, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So open is what you're looking for. Number 2, all the way down at the bottom, this is waitlisted. This means that the class is being held, but right now, all of the seats are filled. You may join a waitlist, and Desiree is going to talk to you a little bit more about waitlisting, but waitlisting essentially means that you want to be considered for that course, and if someone else decides not to take it who already has a seat, you may be bumped up into that class. So waitlist does not necessarily mean you cannot join it, but it does mean that for this moment there are no seats available. Closed, number 3, means that all of the seats are filled and all of the wait list is filled. That this class, essentially there are no more spaces. You can forget about that class for the time being and look for some other courses. Same goes for canceled. Canceled means that that class will not be held for this semester. So if you see what we have circled here at number 4, canceled, again, just move along, and if you've been cleared for that course, just go ahead and look for a different course because it is not going to be held. Some other things to keep in mind while you are on this page is the dates, the day of the week, and the time that that course is going to be held. So the first bubble that we have up at the top there with the arrow, that is the time that that course is going to be held. Similar to our final schedule, in the United States and at American University, you must attend every class that is scheduled. So if it says Tuesdays and Fridays, you must attend both Tuesday and Friday of that particular week. It won't be the same class held 2 times. That class actually meets twice a week. So that's something to keep in mind when you're looking at the schedule. So that first bubble, like I said, is the time of the class. So in this case, 11:45 in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The second bubble is going to tell you the section number. We have this one in particular circled. That H means honors, and unfortunately abroad at AU students cannot take honors courses. So if you see an H next to the course number, you will not be allowed to take that class, and you need to pick one of the other two options, either section 1 or section 3, which are shown above and below that circle. When you are looking at classes, course section is something that you do need to keep in mind. You will need it when you register for classes, which I will show you in the next screen. So write down the course number as well as the course section. The next bubble shows you what prerequisites are required for a specific course. So in this instance, International Development has a prerequisite of SIS 105. That is what Desiree is talking about when she said that you need to get your prerequisites approved by her. So if you see this course and that it has prerequisites, that's something that you need to be talking to Desiree about before you register. The last bubble on this page shows you how many credit hours a specific class is worth. So in this case, International Development is 3 credit hours. You will take 12 credit hours. So if you're taking all 3 credit hour classes, you'll take 4. Some classes may be 2 hours or 1 hour. So you need to make sure that you're totaling up to 12 at the end. Were there any questions before I move along about looking for classes?
Okay, so just going back, the course clearance form is a form that you must submit with all of the classes after you've gone through the schedule and chosen what you'd like to register for and submit that form. If you haven't seen that form yet, then you probably haven't had a chance to go through your required readings on your application portal. The link is specifically listed on your application portal. If you have gone to the portal and you've clicked on that link and you're having an issue bringing it up, then you can email us and we can send you a different link. But again, the course clearance form is just what you need to complete with all the classes so that I know where to go and look for the prerequisites that you need to meet. Okay, so once you have submitted the classes, I'm actually going to talk specifically about registration in a couple minutes, but I'll just answer this question real quick. So once you go through and you look at all your classes and you submit the course clearance form to me and I clear you for everything, then you'll go onto your MyAU portal and register yourself on November 24th or 25th based on your last name. So again, hold on to that question for a quick minute because in about 3 slides I'm going to be specifically going over how you register for your classes. Okay, so let me just give you a quick rundown of what is the wait list. So I know Ashley mentioned this before, and the list of classes that she was using is from this semester, so don't be alarmed that everything's going to have a wait list of 27 people. It's likely there will only be 2 or 3 people on the wait list when you go to register. But basically, if a class is already full and it's really a course that you would like to take, then you can enter yourself onto the wait list. It is the only way to get into that class, and it's basically a list of students that are waiting for a spot. So if a course has 25 people in it and 25 people are registered and there's 3 people on the wait list, then that basically means if 3 people of the original 25 drop out, then those 3 will be given a new spot. So basically you register to be on the wait list the exact same way that you register for all of your courses, and then when a spot becomes available to you, you will receive an email basically saying that you can now register for that class. So if a spot becomes available, it goes to the first person on the wait list, and then everyone will bump up. So if you're 3 and 1 person drops, you become 2, and then if another person drops, you become 1, and then if a third person drops, you get a spot in the class. You're only allowed to be on 3 wait lists at any time, so make sure that you're choosing which classes you really want to be in so that you can be on those waitlists. And you can only be on one waitlist for each class. So if you know you want to take SIS 260 and there's 3 sections and 2 of them have a waitlist, you can only choose the one to actually register for. If you are offered a spot off the waitlist, then you have to register for that course within 24 hours from the email being sent. So if you are on a waitlist and you see that you're spot 2 or you're spot 1, please make sure that you are constantly kind of checking your email and following up on that, because the spot will be given to the next person that you may want to take. So monitoring your waitlist, if you go into your myau.american.edu and you click on academics, there will be a my waitlisted sections, and as you can see here, it will give you basically an information about which course you're waiting for, the date, the time, and then yours will say waitlist, and it'll give you a position of 1 or 3 or something like that, and that will update to just kind of give you an idea of how likely or unlikely it is that you may get into the class. Okay, so let me go through and just answer a couple of these questions before we get into actually registering yourself. So if I'm taking a course, that would be a prerequisite for the course I'm planning to take. So this is going back to the point I think that I made earlier, that if you're currently taking a class this semester that is going to be a prerequisite for something next semester, you need to send me a picture of your schedule of classes or some kind of proof telling me that you are in that class right now. Once you have given me that proof, I can clear you for the course, but in January, you need to bring me an updated transcript showing me that you passed that class. So you can go ahead and be cleared for it, but that clearance will be pending proof that you passed that class. So if it's not on your transcript, and I won't be able to see it because you sent your transcript from the spring and now you're taking that class now, then you need to either send me a screenshot of your schedule of classes, send me, a copy of some kind of proof that you are currently enrolled. You can send if you send just the syllabus, then you need to also send me a letter from the professor saying that you are enrolled in the class. So some kind of example of how you're taking that class right now, and then in January you'll bring me that updated transcript back. Okay, so if you want to take a class that does not have a prerequisite, you should still be putting that into your course clearance form, because it may be a class that is restricted to abroad at AU students. So it's just easier for us to kind of check and go through. Obviously, if there are no restrictions and there's no prerequisite, you'll be cleared right away. You don't need to worry about that, but it's just better for us to be able to see all your classes and to make sure that everything clears. That way when you go to registration, you don't have this big problem, and it's already like the time when you're supposed to be registering. So if a class is closed, then as Ashley said, that means that there is already a full wait list. So there isn't really an opportunity to be able to get into that class. What can happen, and this is not a guarantee, so you should not be planning on this happening, but sometimes they open a second class if the first one is really, really popular. That has happened in the past, but again, we don't really know what makes the individual department decide whether to do that or not. So if that does happen, then that's great. You can register for that next course. But if not, then unfortunately, if a class is closed, there isn't much that even an AU student, it's not just abroad AU students that would be limited. Even a regular AU student won't be able to sign up for a closed class. Okay, so now let's talk about actually registering yourself for your classes. So on November 24th or 25th, you're going to first pull up the email that you specifically received from me telling you which classes you're cleared to take. You're going to look and make sure that the 4 you want to register for are open and have spots in them, or if one is a wait list, then you will want to find a replacement class, because as I said, you need to be at 12 credits. So you basically want to have all of that information in front of you, pulled up on your computer screen, and then you are going to go to your MyAU portal, which is myau.american.edu. Once you're in this portal, on the right-hand side, you'll click Academics, and then you will click Registration. So from here, you will have this screen that's at the bottom pop up, and it says your registration session will time out after 10 minutes. It won't take you that long, so that's okay. And you're going to click Register, Add Courses. Obviously, you can't drop any because you haven't taken them yet. So you're going to click on Register, Add Courses, and that will bring you to this screen. This screen is pretty simple, so that is why it's really important to have all of this information already written out, as Ashley said. So you're going to click the subject. So let's say, for example, you want to register for IBIS, International Business 200. So you'll, in the subject drop down, you'll put IBIS. Course number, you will choose 200, and then you need to have the specific section number of the one that you're interested in taking. So 003. If you want to take the third section of International Business 200. Your term will just always be spring 2015, so that's pretty easy. And then you'll choose your grade, either A through F or pass fail. So you can take classes pass fail as an Abroad at AU student, but you should talk to your home advisor, your academic advisor at your home institution, about how you should take your classes, whether they'll accept pass fail or whether you have to take the class for a letter grade. That isn't going to be up to us. That will be up to you and your home institution. So make sure you're talking about that with them. Most of our students just take their classes A through F, which is how American students do it. And then for waitlist, if the class is open and there is no need to add the waitlist, then you just leave that as no. But if you're specifically registering for a class that you know you need to be on the waitlist for, then you would change that to yes. So you put all of your classes in here. You click Verify Courses. On the next screen, the actual list of the classes that you have put up will come up onto the screen. You check and make sure that all of those are the dates and times that you wanted, so Tuesday and Friday at 11:45, and then you just click Submit, and you will have a beautiful course schedule right in front of you listing those classes. So it's actually pretty simple once you actually get to the registration part of the process. It's only about 3 or 4 different pages, and then you just click check. Once you've registered for your classes and you've received that kind of final page, you can either print that out directly for your records if you want to have it, or you can go back to your MyAU portal and you can then just go into My Class Schedule within your portal under Academics, and you'll be able to see all the classes that you are registered for. So let me check these questions. Have the same question. Do we need to register online also? Okay, so having your courses cleared and registering for them are 2 completely different processes. So the first thing you need to do is, in the next week or 2, you need to submit all of your classes to me through the online form. Once you have done that, I will go through and I will then approve you and clear you to take specific classes that you have requested, and I will email you back saying, hi Jane, I saw that these are the classes you requested. I've cleared you for these 3 because there's no prerequisites. I've cleared you for these 2 because I see that you met the prerequisites for that, and so you're fine to take that course. Unfortunately, you're not cleared for this class because it's actually an honors course, and so you can't take it. Once you have that email, then you need to wait until November 24th or 25th. Unfortunately, AU broke it down by last name, and it's a bunch of random letters, so it's hard for me to tell you specifically whether you're the 24th or the 25th right now, but I will put that in your email. So let's say that you are November 24th at midnight Washington, D.C. time on the 24th, so maybe 6 a.m., Frankfurt, Germany time, then you can log on to your portal, enter your classes, and then register. So registration will be something that's done the 4th week in November, but your course clearance is something that should be done as soon as possible. So you should be looking at your classes now and getting that submission form into me. So hopefully that clears up the confusion with those 2 different processes. But if you have more questions, please feel free to email us and we can send you directly the links or a more specific rundown of the time. This entire presentation is currently being recorded, so say hello to yourself, and we will be uploading it online. So if you're having an issue or if you just want to hear my voice because it's so beautiful, once again, then you can definitely watch this video. And if you want to just go back to a specific question you may have had about registration, please feel free to use that recording. So if you're having any issues with the conference, then we can take care of that. So registration is on a first come first serve basis as far as the class availability. So we register by credit at American University. So it may be that other people are able to access that course before you, but for the most part, our students have been able to get into a good amount of the classes that they want, or to be a good spot on the wait list. So you won't be directly competing with like the entire university, because if you think about it, if you're taking only 300 and 400 level classes, then only third or fourth years at AU will be taking those. And if you are going to be taking primarily 100 and 200 level classes, then only the freshmen and sophomores at AU will be taking those classes. So it kind of spreads out based on what you are cleared to take and what level you kind of are lining up with the classes that you want to take. You can submit more than one course clearance form, as we said earlier, so please feel free to do as many classes as you'd like, because I would rather clear you for 15 classes and have you register for 4 than be able to only clear you for 3, and then we're struggling to try to find another 4th class that you'd like to take. All of this information about registration is located on your required reading. So we have screenshots with arrows and different things like that. So if you come to registration and you have questions, and it's 1 a.m. Washington, D.C. time, and I'm asleep, please don't be alarmed. Go on to your application portal and read through this again, just so you make sure you're doing the registration process properly. Okay, enough about the serious stuff. We're going to talk about a little bit more fun. So Ashley's going to just give you a rundown of orientation. This is our final kind of bullet point for our agenda. So once we get through orientation, we'll have a little bit of time for questions. So let us know if you think of anything else that you'd like to know.
So, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, I have the really fun job of getting to plan the events for you guys throughout the semester. So, for instance, we have multiple events every month, and the first of those events starts with orientation. So we try and make orientation both educational and also really fun, and a good opportunity for you all to meet each other, meet some abroad at AU students who are here for the fall semester, and also current American AU students. So orientation is going to be the week of January 5th through the 9th. So we will start on January the 5th with optional activities, and that will be what I mentioned earlier, the shopping trips and dinner meetups. So those will be optional for you guys to start meeting one another and make sure that you're getting a meal and getting whatever groceries or school supplies you might need. Starting on the 6th, we will have mandatory orientation. So you must be at the activities on the 6th, 7th, and 8th. On those days, we are going to cover the topics that I have listed here on the screen. Document collection and immigration check-in. This is going to be really important. I'm sure you are all aware that immigration and your student visa is very important, so we want to make sure that we have all the documents that we need and that everything is going okay with immigration thus far, and that your travel to the States went seamlessly. That's definitely what we hope. The second thing that we will have sessions on, mandatory sessions on, are campus tours, getting your IDs for the university, and also student services, so health services, housing and dining. We'll go over all of those things once you get on campus and make sure you know where all of those offices are. The next thing that we'll have sessions about are employment and visa regulations. Again, this is really important for those of you who are thinking about an internship or other employment opportunities. There are very strict rules about what you can and can't do. So we will have an important informational session about that. And the last thing is we'll have an information session just talking about the basics of the American classroom and the academic integrity of American University. It may seem like something that would be universal, but it's really not. The university class style here in the United States may be very different than what you're used to at home, and we want to make sure that you're prepared for that before the first day of class, so you know what's expected of you, and you'll also know what's expected of your professors and the other students around you. So those are the mandatory parts of orientation, and again, that will be Tuesday the 6th through Thursday the 8th. On Friday, we will have an optional day that we call Snapshot DC. This is the fun day. Our students historically love this day. It's student-led, so your orientation leaders, who are going to be a mix of American AU students and also abroad AU students from the fall semester who are here for the whole year, they will lead activities in DC. So there'll be different options of places to go. As you can see in our picture here, some students went to the zoo this fall and had a blast. So that is going to be a really fun day to see DC. Something that we need you to know is that you have to sign up for this day, Snapshot DC, and that's there's a link on your application portal, and it's called a questionnaire, and all we need you to do is just select yes if you are interested in participating in this day, so we know that how many students we have and how many groups we may need to create. So another one of those questionnaires that we're asking you to fill out is about the AU Buddy Program. This is a special program that we have just for abroad AU students and current American AU students. And what we do is we will match you with a current AU student that has traveled abroad. And you will be buddies for the whole semester. This person can be a friend and a mentor to you on campus, help you sort of figure out the systems both on and off campus. And they can also just be a cool person to get to know and a first contact that you have here in the States. So far, this has been a super successful program. People really enjoy participating in it. We recommend that you participate, but again, we do have that questionnaire online, so if you are interested in having a buddy, please go onto your application portal and check yes that you would like to participate in the buddy program as well as Snapshot DC.
Okay, so this concludes our agenda. We have a couple more questions that I see here, which we'll have on the next slide, but we wanted to first just give you a chance to look at this information. So as we've said several times, we are available pretty much always by email. Hopefully you have been getting quick responses to any questions that you've sent, as there are several of us who check this email. So abroadaau@american.edu is where you should be contacting us. You can also like us on Facebook, American University-Abroad@AU, and we do post different things about events that we're having or just reminders of things that you need to be completing. And then if you friend request Sarah B. Harlow on Facebook, she is a picture of like riding a camel, then we can add you to our Abroad at AU private Facebook group where we post things like housing information and reminders about what you need to be doing as you're arriving or things that are going on in DC. So you can join the Facebook page. You can request to be added to it by going to Abroad at AU 2014-2015. But if you friend request Sarah, then we will automatically just add you to that page. Okay. So quick, we're just going to go through questions now. So I'll answer some of the ones that we've received through the chat that we haven't been able to get to throughout the presentation. And then if you have anything else, feel free just to go through. Just as a reminder, we are recording this presentation, so we will be sending out the link if you need to review any parts of it, or if you have to go because you have something else going on this afternoon, then that is totally fine. So the first question we had was about the visitor visa. If you are entering before or want to stay after your J1 visa on a visitor visa, that is fine, but you need to know that you will have to leave the United States and come back either on your J1 visa. So if you come December 10th on a visitor visa, do not assume that on December 13th you will automatically switch over to your J1 visa. You will actually have to leave and go to Canada or go somewhere else outside of the United States and come back through immigration on your J1 visa. The same is applies for June. If your J1 visa expires 30 days after May 10th, then you need to leave and come back if you want to stay on a visitor visa. So if that is you and you think you're gonna have to switch visa status, please email us and let us know so we can either refer you to the international office or we can talk to you more about that. So yes, you have a 30-day grace period after May 10th. So you will need to leave by June 9th. So this is the last day that you are allowed to be in the United States on your DS 2019. So what you should know is that your visa does expire on May 10th. So you will not be able to leave the United States and come back after the 10th, but you can stay in the United States through June 9th. And we will talk about this a lot more in January with calendars and dates and deadlines and all of that information. So, but just plan on being able to stay in the United States through the 30 days after May 10th. So the course clearance form, we had a couple questions about that. That is located on our application portal, so where you originally applied and submitted all your materials and things like that. If you go into your required readings and click on course clearance and course registration, then there will be a link there. You can fill that link out as many times as you would like. If you want to fill it out a second time in replacement of the first time, send me an email and let me know. But otherwise, you are welcome to submit it 2 or 3 times if you find another class that you think you would like to take. If you are in a prerequisite right now, you need to send me proof that you are in that class and then bring me an updated transcript in January showing that you passed that class. So if you're taking General Biology 100 this semester and you'd like to take General Biology 200 next semester, send me a schedule of your classes, prove that you're currently taking that class, and then just bring an updated transcript in January. We would hate for you not to be able to take that class just because you're doing the prereq now. So we're definitely willing to work with you on that. But you just need to give us the information so that I know ahead of time in order to clear you for those classes. The first day of class, the semester, and the first day officially of your DS 2019 will be January 12th, that Monday. So classes will be meeting that Monday. So if you have a Monday course at 1:10, then you will go to it for the first time on January 12th. Mandatory orientation is the week before. So you should be planning to arrive to DC on the 4th or the 5th so you can participate in those activities, and then you'll have the weekend totally free, no orientation requirements, and you'll be able just to get settled, get your books and things like that in order for class to start on the 12th. If you are one of the very, very few schools that has permission to miss orientation because you have finals at your home institution that week, you need to enter the United States by January 12th. You will not get through immigration if you show up January 13th. So if that is a concern to you, please email us right away, but know that you need to be here for mandatory orientation, and you absolutely will not be allowed to enter the country after January 12th. Okay, so visa documents are being processed right now, and we are hoping to get all of those acceptance packets out by the second week in November. There are specific students that I have been working with to get all of their bank documents and things like that updated, so if you needed to resubmit any of that, you may be a little bit later, but you should be expecting to be getting those back by about the second or third week in November, and then once you have them, you can make your visa interview for immediately after that. Usually, traditionally, our students have had a good success rate in doing their interviews and getting their visas pretty quickly. The student visa process tends to go well at our consulates and embassies around the world. Okay, so the exact date of registration will be either November 24th or 25th. In your course clearance email, I will tell you exactly what day you need to register. If you want to know right now, then you can, it's really simple. Just Google American University registration 2015, and then scroll down to either the 24th or the 25th and look at the letter of your last name on that line. So I am just not exactly sure what each day has for the last name, but let's say, for example, that A, B, and C are on November 24th, then if your last name is Bong, you can register on the 24th. Registration opens the day that is listed at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So if you are have the last name Chen and you are allowed to register on the 24th, then you can register for the on the 24th at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So that could be noon where you are, that could be 10 o'clock at night where you are. It kind of just depends. So you need to just look and do the time difference for yourself to make sure that at midnight on that day you can register. So meal plans, yes. So if you are living on campus, then it is required that you have a meal plan through American University, and that will be part of your application to live on campus. If you do not live on campus, but you're interested in having a meal plan, you absolutely can, and you can sign up for that by just going onto your portal and choosing campus meal plan and signing up for what you would like to have. Campus meal plans can also be added during that add drop period, the first 2 weeks of class. So starting January 12th, you can go to the Housing and Dining office and choose to add that plan to your bill. So again, if you live on campus, then you must have a meal plan. So that will be a requirement. But if you do not live on campus, you are able to have a meal plan if you would like one. Okay, so the credits, whether you can either take 12 or 17, is dependent on your program. So if you are an exchange student, which the person asking this question is, then yes, you can register for 17 credits. But if you are not an exchange student, you can only register for 12. So if you have any specific questions about credit registration and how many courses you're allowed to take, please email us directly, because it's really specific to who is asking that question. So I don't want to confuse anyone. But yes, you can either take 12 or 17 depending on which program you're coming to Abroad at AU at. And if you take more than that, then there's a $980 additional charge for each credit above that. Yes, so if you completed the housing application, you obviously could not do it with your AU email because we haven't been given those yet, so we haven't been able to give them to you, but that will be happening within the week. But yeah, if you are registered through Housing and Dining, then when they place you in that space on campus, they will automatically pull your AU email. They will have access to it through the AU database Datatel that we maintain. So you may be getting it to your regular email and your AU email, but do not be concerned that you won't be getting that contact information, because they will have access to your AU email even if you don't enter it, because they can pull it from our larger AU database. Okay, so the official acceptance letter will be going out in your packets to your home university, which we talked about at the very beginning of this presentation. So we will not send those out to you until we have your immigration documents, which we would expect to be getting in the next 2 weeks, and mailing out as soon as we have all of your information prepared. So the acceptance letters, the information on how to apply for your visa, if you submitted original financial documents, things like that, those will all be coming in an official acceptance packet. It's based on your deposit in that we won't send it, but it's not based on the timing of your deposit, because we have to just wait for everyone's immigration documents to get back to us, which just takes time to process. So all of that will be happening in November as soon as we get it back. Okay, so I'm going to answer the access to housing questions in two ways because I'm not exactly sure which one you're implying. You will be notified of your housing December. If you complete your application by the preferred deadline of Saturday, November 1st, then you will be notified of your housing by December 1st, letting you know, one, if you've gotten a spot on campus, and two, what your spot is. Housing will actually open and be available to you on January 4th, that's Sunday, at 3 p.m. So you will not be able to move into your dorm before that time because the university is actually closed for winter break up until that Sunday. So campus will open again at 3 p.m. You'll be able to move right into your dorm at that point. If you arrive to DC before that day, you do need to make arrangements either at a youth hostel or a hotel or somewhere else in DC because you won't be able to move into your campus. The doors will be locked. And no one will be there to enter you into your room. So the first day that you can officially access your dorm will be January 4th. That's Sunday, January 4th at 3 p.m. Do we have any other questions? You guys are asking great questions. Okay, if you think of anything else or you are watching this as a recording and you didn't have a chance to answer your questions, please email us at abroad@au. We're happy to review anything with you or answer any questions that may be concerning you. So with that, thank you guys all so much for joining us. We hope that this was helpful to you. And we are really, really excited to see you all in January. So please let us know if there's anything we can do as we move forward, and we will see you all soon.
Bye. Have a good rest of the day.